and just being aware of your thoughts. I think that's something that I've learned a lot over the last few months is like how are you speaking to yourself. Try and be more grateful for what you have. And I think grateful and gratitude is a word that people tend to kind of cringe at now. I'm maybe very different to the listeners at the minute, but I love working out. When I'm in a negative headspace,
everything happens for a reason. Most of you are probably familiar with the saying, but maybe some of you don't really believe in fate, however. Well, our guest today is the perfect example that from every experience and event that seemed negative at its time, one will always encounter abundance and positivity from that. From getting injured playing rugby in his last year of uni, thinking at a time that everything would go downhill from there, to owning 2 businesses and being an overall inspiring and uplifting person, today's guest, ladies and gentlemen, will definitely open your eyes when it comes to having the right mindset. With that said, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Dan Trainer.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of The Grateful Show. Today, we have the honor to talk to Dan Trainer. How is it going, my man?
I'm good, man. How are you doing? Thanks for having me on. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you so much. Actually, it's a pleasure for us. I know that you've been following us for quite a while and you've been so supportive. So just wanted to take now the time to say that we are really grateful.
Yeah, no, I'm exactly the same. Like we said before, I think like social media can definitely be a force for good or a force for bad. And it just completely depends on who you're following. Like, I think something recently, last few months, I've been a bit cutthroat on who I'm following and what like brands and pages I'm following. If they're not filling you with joy, if they're not like giving something positive to your life, then you're spending a lot of time on social media every day. So it's good to follow pages like you, and I'm happy to like share the content. So hopefully my followers get the same positive responses. Today. So I'm grateful for my health, my wealth, my like positivity. Like I'm so blessed to live where I do. So I'm in like Kent countryside, so amazing natural open spaces. But my girlfriend lives in the city, so I'm really grateful I can go and see her. So I'm like half and half, which is it's the best of both worlds, really. Yeah, grateful for like loving, supportive friends and family around me. I'm just very blessed at the minute, to be honest. Very happy with life.
I believe that this is the best answer to this question we ever got. So many things to be grateful for, but it's so hard sometimes to just acknowledge them, isn't it?
100%. It is tough, and there's something that I've had to be really strict about. Again, like over the last few months, that's really where my like journey's blossomed. Is it's a skill. It's like you don't just wake up one day and you're really good at being grateful or like manifesting or whatever. It's hard to do. Like everyone goes through ups and downs, and you have to really force yourself to think like, what am I grateful for this morning or today or whenever it is. And if you do start regularly thinking about it, you do find different things. Like I won't go into too much detail, but yesterday I had like a miracle walk. So I have miracle mornings and I went for a miracle walk. And in that I was doing my manifesting. I was like seeing what I want from the future, but also what am I really grateful for now. And a switch clicked in my head, and I was like, actually, that is really good. Like something that I've been thinking about as a negative for maybe the last few weeks, turned around and I was like, actually, I'm really blessed to have that. Like a lot of people don't have that. So yeah, it is a skill, and it's a learning process. It does take time. And I've not perfected it at all, but yeah, we're getting there.
We'll definitely dive deeper into that. But before that, Dan, for our audience that don't really know what you do and how you come to be where you are now, would you mind sharing a bit about your story and how you got to where you are now?
Of course, yeah. So I mean, it's a long journey, so I'll try and cut it down to a couple of minutes. But so basically, at the minute, I have an online health and wellness business, and I have a mobile bar company that I've set up with my brother. So very grateful for both of those things in today's climate, that I've got businesses that I can work. So way back when, like, let's say I'll start off with the mobile bar company. Me and my brother are super close, like best mates. Very like pleased to have that, and we've always wanted to work together. So we've always wanted to have that like entrepreneurial skill set kind of thing, and we weren't really sure where that came, where that would manifest, or where that would come about. But we were kind of just open to ideas. And then at our sister's wedding, she had a mobile bar there, and it kind of fit both of our skill sets. So I've been in hospitality for years. My brother's always been really skilled at making things. So he's like renovated his house. He's made custom cars and custom bikes and things. So it fit both of our skill sets. So he converted the bar. I knew what I was doing with the bar, and obviously we learned new skills during that as well, like marketing and social media and sales and all of that jazz. So that's kind of, it came to a fruition. Our first event was last October, which was amazing. Started off really strong, and then we had this pandemic, which hasn't been amazing. But again, we've been able to adapt and add new skill sets in, so that since we did open up again, or the world started to open up, we have been able to get a few events in, which is amazing. And we're still on track for our first year goal. So yeah, very pleased with how that's going. And then the online business started through my girlfriend. She's got a similar kind of online franchise, or the same franchise. And yeah, so I started that at the beginning of lockdown. So that was March this year. And so what attracted to me that to me was the community, to be honest, because I know you guys both being blokes, most guy friendship groups are supportive, but not necessarily super positive and super, like positive and focusing on the good. Like guys tend to meet up and have a moan about the missus, or have a moan about like the weather or something. Maybe that's just English guys, but guys in general. So yeah, being edited into that community has been amazing, and that's been really good for personal growth and manifesting, and focusing on the good in life, and therefore attracting more good. So yeah, it's really been over the last few months, like this lockdown's actually been really good for me in my personal growth and growing these businesses as well. Yeah, so there's a little brief introduction to me.
I really love that you said that the pandemic was a really good thing for you, because most of the people just took it like, okay, I can't do anything, so I'm just going to sit and watch Netflix and try not to eat that much bad food for me.
100%. I was actually went out for a meal with the guys last night, and we were having the same conversation, and one of the guys turned around and he was like, I was in, because he's just gone back to his office job now, he was saying, I was actually in the best head state that I've ever been in when I was locked down, and I couldn't leave my house for 3 months, because he was staying active. He was still giving himself tasks to do. He was like, eating the right foods. He was watching Netflix and stuff, but only maybe for like an hour or two in the evening. He was still staying active. And then I had other friends, like you say, a lot of people were like this, who didn't do that. They didn't get up, shower, get dressed, give themselves an aim for the day, stayed in bed, watched Netflix, didn't really have a job or like a side hustle or a project or whatever to work on. So understandably, like headspace and mental health went downhill. And it seems to me like there is a big line in the sand. People either think 2020 is the best year of their life, or 2020 has been a real low point.
Agree.
And it's kind of like what you guys speak about all the time, is it's all about perspective. Like, yes, 2020 has been awful for some people, and like, yes, not been very good in some aspects, but in other aspects, I think it's been amazing. Like, it's helped people face up to demons. It's given people more time to read, to like do some inner work, and therefore come out in a better place, whether that be financially, mentally, spiritually, whatever. It's given us the time that everyone always says they want and need to really work on yourself. So yeah, it's definitely been a fork in the road for a lot of people's lives, I think.
Hey, just a little break right here. My question to you now is, are you enjoying this podcast with Dan? Are you enjoying the thoughts and experience that he's sharing with us? Well, if you are in for a good treat, because it's only gonna get better from this point onwards. But if you're enjoying it, please don't hesitate and take a screenshot of the timestamp where you are listening right now and post it on your IG stories. Both us and Dan would be more than happy to repost it, and why not start a conversation with yourself? And with that said, thank you. Back to the podcast.
Couldn't agree more. You mentioned about being active, and as both me and Bogdan agree, is the fact that by simply just being active and exercising on a daily basis, or like regularly, not necessarily every day, you set yourself up for like success throughout your day. Like once you work out, you have those endorphins, you feel like you've done something for yourself, and then that sets you up for like doing even more tasks after. But what I wanted to dive into a little bit, Dan, is how did you got into training? Because I noticed that you are training, you're exercising, you're being active, but like obviously this didn't just happen overnight, right? So what got you into training?
The training, well, to be honest, I've always been into health and fitness, like always been. So I've basically, as my nature, I'm a super competitive person. So as a kid, I like got into all sorts of sports. No matter what it was, like I'd give it a go. I wasn't the best at all of them, but I would give it a good go at all of them. And then that tamed like my teens, kind of early teens, into going to the gym, and then like wanting to be fitter and stronger than my friends, and then again like uni, back into sports again. And so I've always had a real passion for health and fitness, and I've always been that guy in like my friendship group as well. Like I've always been the guy who's into health and fitness or nutrition or whatever. I've got a real passion for it as well, like because everything you just said there is 100% true. Like health and fitness or exercising and taking after your nutrition is not just for getting a six-pack or being able to run a marathon or whatever. It is taking care of your body. Like you only get one body in your life. Take care of it, feed it what it should be eating. Don't think about dieting as like, oh, I can't eat this, I can't eat that. Think about dieting as my body needs this, I need to fuel my body with this. And it's got so many benefits to it. I could go on a bit of a rant here, but like all of the big CEOs or big entrepreneurs or big business people get up early in the morning and exercise because various things, like you say, you get a big endorphin boost. You feel like you've achieved something. If that 5K run or whatever was horrible and you got through it, as a sense of achievement. And then you think, oh, I can get through anything today. I've already completed that task. That run didn't defeat me. So then this meeting or this phone call or whatever won't defeat me. I'll be able to get through that as well. So I'm a massive advocate for health and fitness, but just also just looking after your life, looking after your body, and yeah, I suppose in turn your life. Mm-hmm. Like I think everyone, no matter how old you are, gender, age, whatever, you should be exercising at least 2-3 times a week, and just looking after your body. Like when I say feeding you the right things, you don't have to be eating. In fact, please don't eat chicken and rice and broccoli every day. Feed your body with what it should be eating, and yes, treat yourself, but just have a bit more of an understanding with what your body's going through and exercising yourself as well.
Because at the end of the day, it's all about well-being. As you said, it's not just about building an awesome physique, having ripped abs. It's about like the overall well-being of yourself, how your relationships are developing, how your career is developing. And you mentioned about the CEOs, and I wanted to mention about Ryan Serhant being very, very popular YouTuber and like real estate broker in the States. I will never forget, I was watching one of his vlogs like 2 years ago, and he was like, I hate working out. Like, please understand that I hate working out, but I wake up every morning at like 4:30 or 5, and the first thing that I do is I work out. And after I've done that, I'm like, no matter what other sales meetings I might have, no matter what confrontations I might have with my employees, I've done the hardest thing first. So everything else is going to be just easy throughout the day.
Exactly, 100%. I couldn't agree more. Like that is it. It's achieving something that you don't necessarily want to do, and that sense of achievement is incredible. Like not everyone gets through that. So us, like again, going back to having our own businesses and like getting in a sale or whatever it is, getting in an event, that you get that sense of achievement from it. A lot of people in a 9-to-5, when you're working for someone else, don't necessarily get that. You might get your sense of achievement earning your bonus at the end of the quarter or something, but you don't necessarily get those daily daily like boost of endorphin. So exercise can definitely be that at the start of the day, but also I use it throughout the day. So obviously I may be very different to the listeners at the minute, but I love working out. When I'm in a negative headspace, I don't want to work out. But if I then force myself to go for a run, it can be, I use it as like a meditation. It's a really good way of just, you don't think about anything else. You don't think about that argument you've had with the missus, or bad conversation you've had with your brother, or like the person that didn't want to buy the products that you were selling. You don't think about that. All you think about is, okay, I want to hit my like split time minute per mile, or I want to reach this certain goal, or whatever. That's all you're thinking about. So I recently have got into a little bit more of meditation, but I've always struggled with it because I've got quite an active brain. I have to be thinking about something. So running is my form of meditation. I'm not thinking about anything that is necessarily, I'm not thinking about that like sale or anything else that's going buzzing around my head. I'm just thinking about these 2 or 3 factors that I need to hit, my stride length and everything else. And then that kind of puts me in a better headspace for the rest of the day.
Couldn't agree more. And like, let's be honest, anyone who's been like really training or like running any form of exercise, they could easily say that whenever you're exercising, if you're really exercising, you can't really think about anything else. Like you can't really be thinking about the argument that you have when you are squatting like 100 kilos on your back.
100%.
And there was a very interesting quote I came across the other day. It was like, the man doesn't conquer the mountain peak or the mountain. In fact, he conquers himself. And it goes to show that whenever you are putting yourself through like discomfort, or like through a run, through a morning workout, you don't necessarily like do that for the workout. Like, I've done this much, I've ran this much. No, you actually conquer your own self.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Like, again, a quote that we had in our like team training the other week was when one of our mentors, one of the mentors hit the top level, or hit that level of achievement. She didn't think, oh, amazing, I've got to that level. She immediately thought back to all of the like days where she felt rubbish, all of the no's she had, all of the like the real down moments, and the sense of achievement came through getting over those. So yeah, something that I try and train my team on and train myself on is when you're going through those down moments, that's just all training. It's all training to be able to teach other people how to get through them, teach yourself how to get through them later on in your journey. But everything that happens to you, everything happens for a reason. It's not just a bad moment. It is preparing you for your future life. Yeah.
Exactly. Just about like how you perceive it. Like we spoke before, just about the perspective, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely, 100%. And it's always the same when I look back and review my month. Every month, I always look back and think, oh well, everything worked out for the best for me anyway. So now I'm trying to think of that in the month and think like looking forward. Because it's crazy. Like I had a bit of a reflective moment with my brother a couple of days ago, last week or so, and we were saying that it's absolutely mental how everything has worked out for us to be in this moment right now, in business and in life. So I was a PT coming out of uni. I wanted to travel the world, so I was going for like a PT on a cruise ship position. Got the position, and that meant I would have been traveling the world for a few months on this boat. So after the interview, there was a medical, and I've got various like eye problems. So when they said there was going to be an eye test in the medical, I just didn't even show up. I was like, okay, well, I'm going to fail it. So didn't show up. And so then my life took a whole different route. Then I went into various other things, which meant that I then moved to London, which meant that I then met certain people, which meant that various different things, and now I am where I am with these two great businesses. But I could have very easily turned up to that medical, passed it, and then my whole life would have taken that left turn, and maybe for the better, maybe for the worse, but I believe I am where I'm supposed to be, and I wasn't supposed to go on those cruise ships, and now I'm able to travel on my own terms, rather than wherever the boat's going to go. So yeah, it is absolutely mental. If you take half an hour to look back at all the little tiny life decisions, and everything always works out for the best.
Exactly. Yeah. Dan, we spoke about your past. What are your future plans?
My future plans. God, that is a big question. So like I said, I've always wanted to work for myself. I am a hard worker, and I love working hard, and I love working on something that I'm passionate about. But that's kind of been another fork in the road. Like earlier on in the year, I made that decision, and I was like, I don't want to work for anyone else anymore. I'm going to make it work for myself. So again, kind of going back to that, travel has always been on my mind and has always been a big passion of mine. And I was lucky enough to go traveling for a few months, like backpacking. God, it's like 3 years ago now. Because travel time's gone quick. Which was absolutely amazing. Met some amazing people, saw some amazing things. But the one thing I didn't necessarily like about it was burning through money. And you tend to do that. Like most people aren't working while they travel, and you're spending a lot of money. So I've wanted to go back and do that, but work as I travel, which is why so this online business has allowed me to do that. And then the mobile bar is hopefully building up. We've got various different plans with that. But yeah, so the main goal would be to travel and work, but it's also to help others. Like I've got a real passion. I think I put a post up the other day, maybe about I used to date a law student, and she was super clever and she was super driven. She saw these lawyers as like strong, powerful people, and she was like, I want to be that person, which is amazing. Like fair play to her, and I think she has achieved that now. And I didn't see that, and I always thought, why not? Why didn't I? Why don't I want to be that strong and powerful person? And I don't think it was that. I think it was I'm a big people person. Like law is very like numbers driven or like words, and it's not, you're not really not having that like physical connection with people, with humans. So I've always been a big human or people person. So that's all I want to do. I get a massive buzz out of helping people achieve their goals, or whether that be fitness or financial or business or whatever, or just I get a massive boost out of suggesting a book for someone to read, and them getting a real boost out of it, whether that's helping them or whatever, as long as they get that positive reinforcement from it. So that I get more of a boost from that than money in the bank. So
Speaking
helping
of books, sorry to interrupt you. Speaking of books, what are you currently reading, and what are you recommending to our audience? Something that you've read.
So I'm currently reading The Big Leap. So it's talking all about self-limiting beliefs. So again, looking back on my last month, I went through like a lull of about a week of all these self-limiting beliefs hitting me and like having that negative impact on me. And that kind of took me out of the business for about a week. And then finishing up, I was so close to hitting my goals. And if I just kept that week or kept that like high vibe going, I could have probably hit it. I could have probably smashed through it. But again, looking back, I need to work through those beliefs. And I believe literally as soon as I finished my last book, someone posted about this book and I was like, that would be amazing. I believe that books like are given to me, are like shown to me when I most need them. Never heard about this book before. And then suddenly it popped up and I was like, I've got to get it, ordered it straight away. And it is amazing. It's speaking through self-limiting beliefs, because we have something like 7,000 thoughts a day. And most of them are negative. So it's just trying to move that pin to try and make it a little bit more positive, and just being aware of your thoughts. I think that's something that I've learned a lot over the last few months is like how are you speaking to yourself? Because something that I'm very good at is speaking belief into other people, and not like being annoyed. Like don't speak badly about yourself. Like look how amazing you are. And then self-reflection and looking back at how I speak to myself, it's not necessarily that positive. So that's something that I've worked through the last few months. And it's so important. Like I've said to myself, like, would I say that to my mum or my girlfriend? If not, then why am I saying it to myself? So yeah, so The Big Leap is really, really useful. I'm only a couple of chapters in, but it's great so far. I think one book that I'd recommend is probably The Slight Edge. So The Slight Edge I read about a year ago, something like that. It's all about compound interest, and compound interest fascinates me. It's unreal. And when I read this book, to be honest with you, it's quite a hard read. It wasn't like easily readable, but it was very good, the content that had in it. So yeah, it talks all about like compound interest and the ripple effect. So how one small tiny decision can lead to a huge change. And so yeah, so that I kind of tried to put that into my day. So again, if we talk about exercising, you're never going to lose a pound of fat in a day, but if you go for a brisk walk every day over the next few months, you could lose that. So those tiny, almost insignificant acts can lead to something really impactful. So yeah, The Slight Edge is definitely a book recommendation.
Yeah, it's on my list now, to be honest.
I haven't heard about it, and I'm quite aware of the books that I should be reading, and like I have like probably 200 something books on my Amazon wish list.
Yeah,
but I haven't heard about this one, so I gotta add it.
Definitely pop it in.
Yeah. Dan, what experience are you the most grateful for so far?
What experience am I most grateful for?
Yeah.
Oh, you guys are coming out with the tough questions. So probably all of the tough times. So maybe not one specific time. Maybe I'll come up with a couple. But again, like looking back, like self-reflection, the last few months, a lot of the negative times have turned out for good. So yeah, again, I was I was big into rugby, played it all my life up until final year uni. And then the first game of the season, I took a knock to the head and lost the sight in my right eye, which was a big shock. I didn't know I had that condition. And obviously it was a big impact on my final year grade as well. But if I didn't have that, then I wouldn't have done so much. So out of that, I was able to get 2 work experiences, which were really good. One was like Ben Ainsley Racing in like a sailing World Cup basically team, which was an amazing experience. Learned so much from that. And then that actually made me really knuckle down with my studies, because I missed out on about 4 months of studies in my final year. So then that meant the last 6 months or whatever it is of the year, I really had to knuckle down and I really had to work. So then I went from basically like a 3rd or a 2-2 student to a 2-1 student, which is a big improvement really. So in the moment when I thought I was going blind, I had to lay down face down for a week. I missed out on all of like my last freshers, and missed out on all the parties that were going on, and I missed out on going to New York, and all these negative things that were going around in my head. It was a tough time, but looking back at it, so much good came out of it. And it's the same as so I went again when I was traveling. I was in a bit of a bike accident, and it was a really freak bike accident. I ended up, because I was solo traveling, ended up going to hospital like on my own in the middle of the night, getting stitched up. The lights went out, like the power cut, because it was in Laos, which is it was in northern Thailand, but it was in a real like 3rd world country. I was terrified, to be honest, and going through that, and I was in a real low moment. It was only a week or so into my travels, and I thought, I've only got a certain amount of time out here. Now I'm going to have to stay here for 10 days and get like treated and everything. All of these negative thoughts running around. But me having that accident, moving out of one hostel into another hostel and just chilling there and just sitting there, made me relax a lot more into my travels and like appreciate where I was and like experience the like place that I was in. And then that kind of moved on to the rest of the travels as well. And I also met one of my best friends in that hostel when I was just laying on the in the hammock, feeling sorry for myself, and he came up with a beer, and now we're best mates. So every negative thing that's happened in my life has turned out for good. So yeah, not necessarily one specific thing that I'm grateful for, but I'm very fortunate that all of the negative things that I can think back to, something positive has come out of them. so yeah, pleased.
How did you perceive the travels after you got out of the hospital compared to like how you were perceiving them before you got in the hospital?
Perceiving what, sorry?
Your travels overall, like how were you feeling about like being out there exploring new places? Like how were you before and how were you after the bad experience?
Okay, so yeah, when I arrived, I had this plan of what I wanted to do. Like I had the route I wanted to go to, how many days I was going to be in each place, and so then I could see everywhere. As soon as I arrived, I think it was the same day, that plan changed, as it does with lots of people like traveling. And then yeah, like I say, a week later, moved up, had this accident, and so after that, I decided, yes, I still want to carry on that same route, but just be and just go to that place, see if I like it. So I'd always book in for one night, obviously. See how I like it, see who I meet, see what activities there are, and then just take it as it comes. And if I don't reach the destination that I wanted to get to, then fine, no worries. And I did end up missing out on a whole country. Like I didn't see any of Cambodia, but I'm so pleased that I did. I'm so pleased that I didn't, sorry. I'm so pleased that I did do it that way, because I did actually get to experience everywhere that I went. And I got to meet so many new people. And again, some of them are really good friends now. Yeah, so that kind of changed my perspective on that holiday completely. And also very lucky. Like I had my like hand and arm stitched up. But then as I was feeling sorry for myself in a hostel, like having a few beers with mates, someone came through and he'd fully fallen off his bike and had burns down the whole side of his body. So yeah, like you've got to put everything into perspective and think, really, it could be a lot worse.
Dan, what are 3 things that people can do to become more happier in general? Because we can say that happiness is almost everything that we should be all about.
100%. So I think, it's the title of this podcast is try and be more grateful for what you have. And I think grateful and gratitude is a word that people tend to kind of cringe at now, because everyone says, oh, you need to be more grateful. And if you're not, then it might be quite a difficult thing to kind of get your head around. And I know some of my mates as well, like they've taken the piss out of me over the last few months, because they're, oh, you're so grateful for everything, because they don't really understand it. Yeah. Lucky enough to have a lot of supportive friends, like my brother's now got into miracle mornings and things like that, so he kind of gets it. But a few like practical aspects to get into gratitude would be journaling. So something that I've never really done a diary, never really got into that, but after trying to get into miracle mornings and writing down something that I'm grateful for has really helped me. I think that's because it gives you a focus, it gives you some time to think, okay, what am I grateful for now? And it completely changes your perspective. It completely changes your mood. Like you can feel yourself. If you, everyone does this every now and then, wakes up on the wrong side of the bed, wakes up and I've missed my alarm, or I've got this big meeting, or why is that person throwing the bins out this early in the morning? And you immediately wake up with a negative thought. If you try and own your morning, so again, the 5 a.m. club is amazing for owning your morning. If you try and own your morning by getting up, having some water, sitting down, the first thing you do is writing down whatever you like. It can be like 10 things that you're really grateful for in that day, in your life at that moment. Completely changes your perspective on things. So if you're in a really bad financial state, say, okay, amazing. Do you have a roof over your head? Do you have clothes on your body? Have you got food in the fridge? Then you're a lot more wealthy than a lot of people in the world. It's all about perspective. Have you woken up and you've got a cold? Okay, fantastic. That is a negative. But can you walk? Like, do you have legs on you?
Yeah.
Do you can you go for a walk? Can you breathe properly? Like, there's a lot more positives than there are negatives. And I think if you're, again, like I said right at the start, if you're intentional about it, and you dedicate some time to writing down what you're grateful for, it does take time. Like, you'll have to do this for a week or so to to get good at it and to really make it a habit, then yeah, definitely that's the best place to start, I think. How to be happy as well. I think the second one would be doing some form of exercise, or I'd put that under just self-care.
Yeah.
So self-care, like having some time for yourself. So I would recommend doing some form of exercise, feeding your body with some good nutrition. If you're not sure, it's all over the internet. Like, just get online, Google stuff. Just speak to your mate that goes to the gym. Most people have a general understanding of nutrition. And also taking some time for, I call it just a self-care hour. So whatever works for you. I know some people, meditation really works. Some people, reading really works. Some people just having a nap. Like, people demonize having a nap as you're being lazy, but no, sometimes you do actually just need to rest. I think a lot of people, or just society in general, has glamorized like working hard and hard work, which is great. Everyone needs to work hard, but you can work too much and overwork your body, and then you just zone out and you're not helpful to the people around you, you're not helpful to your business, and you're not helpful to yourself. So yes, napping can definitely be a positive as well. Yeah, and then I think also just surrounding yourself with positive people would be my third tip to happiness. They always say that, show me your friends and I'll show you who you are. Or yeah, like having a positive and uplifting community is super useful at the minute. So this can be really tough, and it's probably the hardest thing to do. If you're honest with yourself, if you look at all your friends, are they thinking 2020 is the worst year in the world? Are they going straight out to the pubs and just binge drinking all day long? Are they not going to the gym or whatever? Are they having a positive impact on your life? Like, yes, they might have been your friends for 10 years or your family even.
Oh yeah.
For all your life. But if they're not serving you, if they're not uplifting you, then they're not pushing you into the right way that you should be. And this doesn't mean completely abandoning your family for the rest of your life. Like, if you can maybe take a step back or put them to arm's length, which to be honest I've done with some of my family, because they're not filling you with joy and happiness when you see them, or when you see the posts, or when you see a text from them. Just putting them at arm's length for 6 months, working on yourself, and then you can bring them back into your life because you're more secure and you're more, you've kind of filled yourself up, and then you'll be able to have a positive impact on their life. Because happiness is the goal, isn't it? We want to be happy. We want all of our loved ones to be happy. And if we're just reflecting back on them, oh yeah, 2020 has been a really shit year, or like, oh yeah, the weather is really bad. Oh yeah, I've got this really bad cold. I always seem to have a cold at the minute. Then that's just reinforcing their beliefs as well, and we're not serving them. So yeah, surrounding yourself with a positive community. Again, if you really can't do that, if you can't get out to a sports team, or you can't join a young mums club or whatever, then you can surround yourself with positive people virtually. So I know, like, you guys do these amazing podcasts, but there's loads of podcasts out there as well that are all about positivity and awareness. You can read a positivity book, you can read some good stuff, watch some good stuff on Netflix. There's loads of positive good stuff on Netflix as well. So yeah, just surrounding yourself with positive people.
I really like the fact that you mentioned all of them free. So it's gratitude, it's self-care, exercise, nutrition, and everything for your own being. And then it's about surrounding yourself with the right people. And I really like the fact that you mentioned that you got to be aware of who's serving you as a person and who's helping you grow. And I feel like it's very important to know the fact that in order for you to be aware of who's serving you and who from your family and like close group of friends is serving you, you have to like do the self-work. Therefore, you have to start with self-care first. Because if you don't know yourself and you don't know what you're actually aiming towards, you won't know who might be able to help you or who's staying in your way. So I like the fact that you order them in that way.
100%, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Then, what's one thing that you would like to change about yourself in this current moment?
So I spoke briefly before about like self-limiting beliefs, and we all have self-limiting beliefs. We will always have self-limiting beliefs, but that is definitely something I'm working on at the minute. Again, my self-talk can be a lot better. So generally, I'm like this positive, happy bloke, and try to be. But sometimes when you go through negative phases, when like negative things happen to you, I can tend to regress into that. Maybe you're not worthy enough. Maybe you're not this month, or whatever. So yeah, those self-limiting beliefs I'm definitely working on at the minute. And yeah, through again the things that I mentioned before, through reading a book that would be useful, through speaking to people that have been through what I've been through, and getting some advice from people that have been through that and come out the other side. So yeah, that's the one thing that I'm working on at the minute.
It's very important for our audience as well to notice that it's very important to be able to reflect upon what you still need to be working on. Because like it's so easy to be like, you know what, I'm actually so grateful for everything. Everything happened in such a way that it got me here. I don't want to change anything. Like as much as that's good, it's like very positive, at the same time can be destructive because you're not aware of what you're actually missing. Do you need to work more on? And all of us need to work on certain aspects of our lives. So yeah, it's very important to know that. I wanted to ask you, Dan, because we spoke about business, we touched upon working remotely. Would you consider being rich, financially rich, as being something selfish?
No, 100% not. I think money and financial wealth only puts a magnifying glass on what you are already. So whether you're a good person and you get lots of money, then you'll be a better person. If you're a not so nice person, you get lots of money, it'll be 10 times worse. So I don't think money is a problem. Money is not the root of all evil. Money's not the issue. It's your thoughts around money. So why do you want to get rich? Do you want to help other people? Do you want to send your family or send your kids to better schools? Do you want to send your family on holidays? Do you want to treat various different people? Do you want to help these charities? Like, being rich should not be demonized, because rich people have power in the world, and that could be power for good and power for evil. So I think money mindset, people's money mindsets can be changed around that, because that's something that I've grown up with. I've grown up in like a Christian household, and it wasn't necessarily said all the time, but that kind of vibe of rich people are selfish, are arrogant, or whatever, and that's something I've had to change in my mind, because money is needed in the world. Like, you need money to feed yourself, you need money to put a roof over your head, and you need money for freedom. And so that's exactly it. So kind of what I spoke about before, about filling up your well, so then you can help other people with like gratitude and positivity. And that's exactly the same thing with money. If you can fill up your bank account and then turn to others and think, look, how can I help you get this, or this? Not by giving them the money necessarily, but teaching them how to do it themselves. So no, I think that's a big thing that people need to change in their mindsets.
Yeah, I just wanted to take the time to say that I really love your mindset. And I'm going to ask you, what are the things that you want to be remembered for?
Oh, huge. So what I'd want to be remembered for, I think it would be being a positive force in the world, because I'm a normal bloke, and hopefully I will always be a normal bloke, and I don't think that success and money or anything like that should change you too much. So yes, I want to be wealthy and rich and successful, but I'd like to be remembered by how many people that I help, whether that be financially or just changing their mindset or moving a bit more positively. That's something that I try and create with my Instagram and my social media platforms, is helping people believe in themselves a little bit more, and having that belief that you can reach for more. Like, just because you've got a good 9-to-5 job doesn't mean that that's life. Doesn't mean that you need to get your 9 to 5, get married at 27, have kids, retire at 65, and then go on your holidays. You can reach for more, and there's a little bit more out there. So yeah, I think if I could be remembered by people for being that positive impact in the world, then I'd be happy. I'd die a happy man.
Very beautiful, very powerful as well. I think that there's a very good correlation between many people mention this. I think Gary Vee does as well, Napoleon Hill. There's a very big correlation between your desires and like being actually able to give first and then receive. Because like most people are expecting things from like God, the universe, call it whatever, before actually being of service to other people, before actually giving something. You can't really be expecting anything unless you are first working for it and also deserving it.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. One of my affirmations at the minute is everything I put out into the world comes back to me multiplied. And that's good, bad, and ugly. Like whatever you put out into the world, I'm a strong believer in that. Whether you want to call it karma or whatever, whatever you put out into the world definitely comes back to you multiplied. And again, if you have a little bit of self-reflection, look back on your life, you can see that, or I can see that definitely in my life. So that's what I try and remember, and I try and put out to the world. So if someone comes up, so I've had this conversation quite a lot recently with family members and friends and things like that, where they said that someone has come across and just reacted really badly to the slightest thing that's happened to them. And I think this is actually working in retail that made me kind of change my mindset on this. And that's just not a reflection on you. So that person may have gone through something really tough. They might have just had an argument with their missus or whatever. And they're just projecting that onto you. So again, that's something that I've tried to change. Before, if someone reacted really bad, I would then react badly to them as well. But now I've tried to like just take a pause. I think that's really important to pause before you react in a positive or negative way, and just have a think about what you're doing and what you're saying, because words are venom. Words can be really destructive. So yeah, just taking a pause and then seeing how I react, and then being able to think like, yes, whatever I put out is going to come back to me. So yeah, if I then react really badly and try and poison this person, try and negatively impact that person's day, then that is going to come back to me at some point or another.
Absolutely. And I think it's worth adding as well. I think I was with my dad in the car the other week, and he was very bad reacting to like another person driving by us. And I was like, why do you have to act that way? And he was like, what do you mean? Have you not seen what he's done? And I was like, how do you actually know that his son is not like on his right seat or left seat and he's about to die and he's actually rushing to the hospital, and he maybe had to like call the ambulance or like call his spouse to like meet him at the hospital? And you never know what they are going through. It might not be always the case, but like you can never assume. Therefore, you should be never reacting badly unless you don't know the full story. And even then, you can't really be reacting that way and affecting other people.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I had a conversation with a friend the other day, and she was saying exactly the same thing. And it was interesting because we were both speaking about taking ownership of your day and of your life. And it was I think it was in Ask and It's Given, a book talking all about law of attraction. And it was speaking about, having ownership of your day. So using your dad for an example, that other person driving badly didn't impact his day. Him reacting badly to that person driving badly impacted his day.
Exactly.
And that's a really hard concept to have. Like everything in your life you have created, like the energy that you've put out, the reactions that you've had, the manifestations that you've done, where you've put your energy, everything in your life has come about because of yourself, because you created it, which is really, really tough, because that goes down to illnesses in your life, that goes down to breakups. Everything has come about because of you. And I think that's a really tough thing to take into account, but it's also a really empowering thing. I speak to a lot of people, and it seems like life is happening to them all the time, and they're almost like out of control. They're just going down a river in a boat, and just life is just passing them by. There's nothing they can do. Whereas if you, again, kind of try and switch your mindset to think, I am in control of my day, I am I'm in control of my life, I'll take ownership over this, then you're a little bit more empowered to think of how I'm going to react to this situation.
Absolutely. I think Marcus Aurelius mentioned that one does not have power upon outside events, but he only has power upon his reaction to outside events.
Yeah.
Dan, I love where this conversation is going. I love your mindset again, but we can go on and on with this forever, but I'm just going to address you the last question. So just take your time to reflect on it. So imagine that you are in your deathbed, and right next to you is the best version of yourself sitting next to you. You see and comprehend what you could have become. So how would you feel about yourself in that specific moment?
This has been tough. I've been asked this question before, and it's a powerful moment. It's a powerful question to think about, and it's hard to give a good answer to. But I think we can always strive to be the best version of ourselves. But I think we also shouldn't be upset when we don't reach that, because no one can reach perfection. No one can reach that level of personal success to be perfect at everything. So yes, I would like to be more positive. I would like to be more successful. I would like to be better in my relationships, all of these things. But I'm also happy with how far I've grown in the last few months. And if that guy next to me on my deathbed is 100%, then at least I'm working my way towards that 100%. And like you said earlier, as long as you're reflecting on what you could do better each day as well, then if you get 1% better every day, then you'll be closer to that 100% by the time death comes around.
I like that 1% every day. I love that concept.
Yeah.
Dan, thank you so much for first and foremost being on a podcast and also sharing all of those knowledge bombs with our audience and with ourselves. We are really appreciative. I just wanted to let you tell our audience where they can find you, and if they want to work with you, how can they get in touch with yourself?
Amazing. Thanks very much. So firstly, thanks very much for having me on. Like I said, I've followed you guys for a while now, and it's really good to actually have a conversation. We seem to have very, very similar values. Basically, the best place to find me is on my Instagram. So it's just @DanTrainer. I've not got a blue tick yet, but just @DanTrainer. And just drop me a DM. Like, I'm a nice, friendly bloke. So if I can help in any way, whether that be through business or mindset or whatever, just drop me a message and I'll see what I can do. It'd be great to have that conversation. But thanks for having me on, guys.
Wonderful.
No, our pleasure. Yeah, thank you so much. And I bet like our audience love this conversation as well. And until next time, thank you so much for listening. This is Bogdan. This is Pascu, and you have here Dan, and stay grateful. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.